All right, we got it. Okay. So for your nose, I see here that our goals are to share our gifts, help awaken others and heal themselves, challenges, blockages, which wounds, and what directions that we need to take. Project that we're working on is creating a resort to heal healers, love, and our skills wanting to align with more clients. So really grow our spiritual business. Does that sound correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
great. New life and new energy into our business is what I was hearing from your energy body.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes.
So, first question your higher self wanted me to ask you, and I took a look at your Facebook page just to kind of see what we had going on so far. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Higher self said, how do we want to market ourselves? Like, if we're really wanting to up the volume of the people that are coming, not only as clients, but just in our field, in our realm, what does that look like for you? And I can give you some examples of what that might
Mm-hmm.
be.
Yes, please.
Okay, so the first one obviously is a social media presence. This is
Mm-hmm.
going on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, wherever feels in the most resonance for you, creating videos about your methods, procedures, why you do the things that you do, your intentions, your beliefs, how you're helping clients, just really expressing your soul that way. Some other ways is partnering with metaphysical shops, yoga studios, wellness centers, networking with other energy healers. When I first started my business, and not that you just started, but when I first started, I said, I need to put myself in places and spaces where other people are doing what I'm doing. So I actually started interviewing energy healers. I
Nice.
said, yes, I said, let me expand my network, them come into my community, me go into their community, and us all grow with one another. But it took me to be the one to say, hey, I want to interview you. And then eventually they said, I want to interview you. And now we have this big network. Okay, so that's another
Love it.
way. Uh, Partnering with chiropractors, acupuncturists, spas, counselors, like therapists, setting up booths at farmers markets, art fairs, festivals, or doing lives on social medias. What comes up when I say those?
Um, Social media, I have a very big opinion on left and right. I'm apparently polarizing. If I can put up one post and it gets a response the way it did in 50 minutes, I had to
Mm-hmm.
take it down. As a result, I've had my leads cut off, and I have to go talk to the broker on Monday. I need to separate my personal views with
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do with healing because healing and personal views are different for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I am an advocate. I'm a Leo rise,
Okay.
Pisces moon in the eighth house. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and I'm a Leo rise at 5 degrees.
Okay.
So, woo! Um,
Right.
that kind of stuff. I'm a Virgo sun, Leo rise, Pisces moon in the eighth house. So I don't know if I'm coming or going. I'm either in my Virgo head and methodically 1, 2, 3, 4, or I'm in my Pisces moon going with the flow and I feel ungrounded.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I know that I need a web presence, and I have hired a web designer, and he's doing his thing, and so far it looks good. I had to tell him what I wanted to do with this web page, and I said I want people to be able to book sessions with me. I want to show them what I can do for them, and it's we've had to hone it down because as I
Mm-hmm.
like word vomited to you before, I do a lot of different things
Mm-hmm.
that could help a lot of different people, but being scattered is not where I need to be. I kind of need to be focused on
Mm-hmm.
more of a pinpoint, more of a niche,
Yes.
so to speak. And I don't know exactly which part of my niche that is. In my daily, I am can't turn off the mediumship. People and spirits come to me and they just do. The psychic stuff, can't turn that off either and don't want to. Um, when people come to me, I just seem to know what it is they need and that moment to heal, to guide them, to just, posit a different point of view of what they've just experienced. And that seems to help them. And whenever I do that kind of stuff, people excel and they just jump like
Mhm.
they're like a grasshopper, whoosh, and off they
Yep.
go. And part of me is jealous because while I can help them, I haven't been able to help myself.
Sure. That's all of us as energy healers. Like it's easier to help.
Right.
know.
Exactly. I can help others all day long. So I am getting the web page. It's being designed and it'll be done within the 30 days thing. He's like got 10 to 20 hours that he's working on it. So that he will be working on it. I paid half and I'll pay the other half when it's done. So I know that part. Um, Social media stuff, I'm going to have to very much separate my me real estate and me metaphysical.
I
And
would.
it's going to have to, yeah, it's going to have to totally be two separate entities, even though Facebook wants to say, no, you have one email address. So we'll go here. I'm like, well, then I'll get another email address. It's not that hard, you
Hmm.
Bart knocker. So, okay, I think I answered my own question there. It's just like, don't be lazy. Just do the things for me that I do for other people.
I don't know necessarily too that it's a question of laziness because there can be a lot of different layers going on. One of them is like persecution fears, which we're going to talk about in a minute, and some things that I found in your records to help clear that away. But then the other is too, like sometimes it's a generational thing. Like social media is a lot. Like even for me, like like I came along and like still like social media wasn't out when I was, in my teens, and then all of a sudden I'm having to adapt. And we as medicine women, okay,
Yeah,
that have an awareness in our Akashic records of how things used to be, where we were the pillar in the community and people would just come to us. And now we're kind of pivoting to no, I'm putting myself out there and outreaching instead to a
that makes a
much bigger
lot of
audience.
sense.
Right.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's kind of frustrating because you say, well, I have all these different incarnations where people were like traveling to me.
Mhm.
Okay. And now I'm traveling to them. But with that comes a lot of other steps to it, like learning how to have a social media presence, how to do marketing, how to do sales, how to work through
How do
persecution
you,
fears.
yeah, but how do
Right.
you keep up, how do you keep up your presence when I do well, do well, do well, do well, and I don't know if I get burnt out or I get bored, and I'm
Yes.
like, I don't want to do this today. And
Yes.
it's like, but you have to do this today. And then I get that avoidance thing because I'm also ADHD and slightly autistic.
Hmm. Same.
Um, so neurospicy. I loved your term neurospicy so
Neurophycy,
freaking much.
yes.
That is the term I now use on a regular basis. And I'm like, I like that. And my oldest and my youngest also have it. I have three kids, and both of them at one point wanted to do medication when they were younger. So we did it. We tried it, and almost immediately they're like, "Oh hell no, take this stuff away."
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Okay, I've never tried it." So there's that. But I said, "What was it like when you did that?" And they said it was horrible. It's like
Hmm.
everything stopped. My creativity stopped. All the voices in my head stopped, even the ones that were helping me. And I'm like,
Hmm.
ooh, right. I can't have that. That's not a good feeling for me. Like when people say, what's going on in your head? I say, well, I have chronic tinnitus. So there's always that going on. And
Hmm.
hey, Macarena is going on back there somewhere. I've
Hmm.
got a song going on. I've got, oh, I need to do this. I need to do that. I'm making a list. Like astrally, I'm probably in 5 or 6 different rooms. I'm like, hey, could everybody come together so we can be here for the moment? And then we goes, okay, hold on. I'll give you a minute. Okay, we're going. So that the witch
Focusing.
wound that you're talking
Yeah.
about as well
Yes.
is huge. I
Yep.
remember walking into the ocean with a bunch of women holding hands and drowning ourselves rather than being burned at the stake.
Hmm.
That is a visceral memory. Like I'm trying to say, oh hell no, I don't want to do this. And everybody goes, I'll help you, I'll hold you down. And I'm like, that's the worst feeling. Anybody who says drowning is a good way to go is a liar.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's a
Obviously.
liar. Good
Yeah.
Lord. No, burning's no fun either, but drowning is really not fun.
No.
Um, Yeah, so there's that. But yes, I'll let you lead it here because sorry, I can talk forever.
No, it's okay. Sometimes we need to pull that stuff up and out and have somebody hear us that actually understands, and that can be very healing in and of itself. Just say, "Hey, this is what's going on. This is what I'm fearing." Like that's alchemization in and of itself. So it's okay.
Okay, good. Good.
Okay.
Ooh,
So what I would say, because I experience the same things where I have ADHD, I have autism, it's a lot to traverse the world as a psychic and a channeler. It's just you're sensitive and just it's a lot. Okay. So with my social media presence, what I have learned to do is not make it about other people or saving them or helping them. I say this is an expression of my soul and my creativity and my growth and evolution, and I am taking people on that journey. So instead of making it them centric, I'm making it I centric of like, I'm going to process and evolve and grow, and I'm going to take y'all with me. And that ends up aligning people with every single chapter I'm moving through. So we're all accelerating at the same rate in the same path because I am not somebody who will continue to talk about the same thing every day.
yeah, I
That
can't
is
do
my
it.
worst nightmare. Okay.
Yeah,
So
amen.
so the
Amen.
way that I have set mine up is I'm not going to continue to talk about the same things. Like we're all in my communities, we are all growing together at the same rate.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to give yourself permission to be that person of like, I got a high level of brain connectivity and I'm going to
Mm-hmm.
be pulling those people in. And maybe you are for the people who are a little bit more advanced. And
Yeah.
that's fine. That is okay. Okay. And then I pick wheelhouses to work in. So I
Yes.
don't have one specific niche, but I say I help with Akashic records. I help with inner child healing. I can do spiritual gifts. I can do past lives. I can help you with your spiritual business and growing and clients and things of that nature, social media marketing. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a lot of things, but it's really like five or six things. And I just
Mm-hmm.
rotate every couple weeks. I just start talking about the other wheel, okay, the other cog. And that helps me grow and evolve as a practitioner and as a human and as a soul because I'm connecting all of these different layers with one another and it's helping everybody that's coming into my realm grow as an overall soul as well. I think that would serve you better.
I totally envisioned when you were saying that. I've always whenever I tell somebody my story, like my
Hmm.
gifts are created here, 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 and I remember these things, they're always fascinated and they want to talk about that topic. They want to talk about that topic. So
Hmm.
that would be I can say, well, okay, I take you on my journey, and my very first memory is I was a year and a half. I taught myself how to walk at 9 months, and I potty trained myself at a year because I didn't like to be wet. My sister Shannon was born a year and a half, at a year and a half when I was a year and a half. We're 18 months apart. We're Irish twins. And my mom and my baby sister were sleeping, taking a nap, and I went across the hall because I heard this woman crying.
Hmm.
And I opened the door and I knocked on the door and I said, and I heard somebody say, "Who is it?" And I said, "It's Kim. I'm across the hall." And she said, "Come in." And I come in and there's a hospital bed. And there's
Hmm.
this older lady in the hospital bed in the living room, and she's got long gray silver hair. It's beautiful. And I say, "Why are you crying?" She says, "Oh, I wish somebody would brush my hair." I said, "I'll brush your hair. Where's your brush?" She goes, "Oh, it's in my bedroom in the drawer." And I said, "Where is that?" And she told me where it was. And I said, "Okay." And I went over there and I opened the drawer and there's this nice boar bristle brush,
Hmm.
really ornate. It was the 70s. It was very woo. So I picked this brush up and I go back to her and I can't, and it's really tall. The bed is tall. And she tells me to grab that chair over there and pull it across. Well, the chair is as big as me. And I remember just push, 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 pushing. I got the chair over there. I climbed on the chair. I climbed on the bed, climbed up to her, and I was talking to her and brushing her hair and giggling. And then all of a sudden, I hear my mom
Hmm.
and a man calling for me. And I say, "In here." And they come in, and my mom is mortified. He's upset. And the lady tells me to tell him, "Don't be Richard."
Mm-hmm.
And so, as a 1.5-year old, not knowing barely how to talk, I say, "Don't be Richard." And he goes, and my mother's mortified, grabs me, picks me up, takes me home, and says, "Don't ever do that. Don't ever go across the hall." And I'm like, but she was crying, and I was talking to her. And about 10, 15 minutes later, we hear a knock, 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 knock at the door. And it was the gentleman. We lived above a butcher shop, and he was the butcher, and that was his wife. And he was crying, and he had in his arms a big old thing of bologna, a couple things of hamburger, a roast. And he says, "I want to give this to you." And he says, "And I want to know if I can borrow Kimberly so I can talk to my wife."
Mm-hmm.
And my mom says, "What?" And he goes, "That is our code word for when I am taking life too serious. Don't be a Richard is don't be a dick."
Got it. Okay.
And I, I was a year and a half years old. I didn't know that stuff. And here's my tale. I got the goosebumps. I got the hair standing straight up. Like I'm also that kind of thing. Like, woo, look, the barometer. Um, and so I talked with him and her. And the thing is about her is she had had a stroke and had aphasia, and she was mute. She couldn't move. She
Mm-hmm. Got
couldn't
it.
talk.
Okay.
So I was telepathically talking to her, but in my head, it was very clear that she was talking.
Mm-hmm.
And my mom let me do that, and the guy was so grateful. And shortly thereafter, she did pass. Um, and he was ever grateful. And my dad in the military, we moved away. But my mother, a church organist and a choir director, was like, "That was beautiful. That was a gift from God. But don't ever let anyone see you do that again. They'll take you away, and you will go away
Yep.
forever."
That's
And
very
I was like,
reminiscent about this past life we're about to get into too.
yeah. So there you go. And that's where I have been. Now, to say that even though I'm tamped down, very powerful. So I'm curious to see how powerful I could be
Mm-hmm.
untamped.
Yes. Okay. So this is kind of what your higher self is saying of oftentimes when we're thinking about creating content, we get really overwhelmed with, well, how am I supposed to make this? And it has to be structured and it has to be outlined. You can take your entire life story and make it a video diary that resonates with people that have had experiences like this. Like asking yourself, where is the lesson? Because you're a medicine woman.
Yeah.
So everything that happens to you in life, where's the lesson and how can I share that? How can I teach people that I'm doing self-alchemization and then
Yeah.
teaching other people how to do that too? Because there are some videos that I create that are, hey, this is the results that I got with this client. These are the methods, these are the procedures, or this is how you work through people pleasing. You know, there could be a billion different things, right? But then there's
Yeah.
others where I'm just teaching from my own life experience and all of them are beneficial and all of them can attract clients. That's what your higher self is saying. Lean into your storytelling capabilities.
I'm gonna do that. I got a big old yes from that, and I feel good about it. That was the directional that I was missing. I'm like, I don't know how to
Yeah, just
start.
start there. Just start there. Say, what are all of these key highlights that I have had in my life where I really learned something that would benefit somebody else? And just start talking because when you talk, there are so many segues that happen. So you can just glean so many more ideas and downloads and insights, like, but you have to oracleize it out. Like you have
Yeah.
so much wisdom in here that's being suppressed inside and just not being seen by other people because of, mom,
That.
past lives, all these different things, social media, all this stuff. But you are really going to find your groove in
Hmm.
oracleization.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
you're a
what
storyteller.
exactly is, yeah, okay. Or I am a
Yeah, you're a
storyteller.
storyteller. You're a storyteller. So you take every single thing that happens in life, whether it's you watching a documentary about bugs or you telling me about what happened to you in childhood, and then telling people this is what I learned from this, and this is what you can learn from this too.
Okay. Yeah.
That's just start with that type of content. You're going to
Yeah.
find so many people that need to hear the things that are not being said, that are being kept within. And that will
Y-
naturally attract people to you because you're very authentic. You're very vulnerable, very authentic, very expressive, very exuberant. Sometimes it's not even the lesson that draws people in, it's your energy.
A lot of
It's
times.
how you make them feel. is that they
Yeah.
can trust you, right? So take your greatest gift of oracleization and start there. And then as you're getting clients to come in, then we can make more like transformational type videos like, oh, Susie came to see me for this. And this is how
Mm-hmm.
I helped her work through it. And this is where we got to. Or you can start talking about different trauma wounds that people, work through and talk about this is how you do it. But start with the one that's the easiest for you so you can get excited and have fun.
Yeah.
And then have people resonate with it and be like, oh, yeah, this is why I continue to show up every day. Because I
That,
do see
yeah.
that it is supporting people and they do want to hear what I have to say.
Yeah, that makes it more fun.
Yeah, start with the fun stuff first. Because I can see you're not the one to be like, let me get out a Google Docs and do an outline of all my ideas and how I want to say it and script it. That you don't have to be that type. That's for other people. Maybe that's not for you, or that's a skill set that you work on over time.
Exactly. I could lean
Right.
into the Virgo later, but right now the Virgo is
Right.
not in the drive seat. The Pisces moon and the Leo are just
Yes.
running rampant right now. And I'm like, well, let's see where you all go because Virgo hadn't gotten us much work places.
Yeah, and let's make a minute video. I mean, you're probably the person that could talk for like 9 hours if you put yourself in front of a camera, you just really let yourself riff. Okay.
Yeah.
But same, but choose the one that's the most fun for you and the most exciting because otherwise you're not going to get started with it.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. The Oracle stuff. And my other moniker is the Oregon Oracle.
Yep. Yeah. Because
So
you're an oracle, you're a storyteller. That's
yeah,
one of your biggest gifts, right? So lean into that.
I will
Okay.
absolutely lean into that. Thank you,
Yes.
Sage.
Okay, let's get into the past life that came up. So when I went into your energy field, and the reason that this came up is when I was expressing all of these different ways that you can connect to community, we started having some fears. When I started saying like, oh, you could go partner and you could talk on social media and all this, you're like, oh. And I said, where is that coming from? And you had some congestion in your chest. And I said, can I take a look at that? And you said,
Hmm.
yes. So I put my hand on your chest and it felt like there was salt in your lungs. And I said, where is that coming from? And then you and I went into this different timeline where you were a woman who was in the 1800s, who was walking down a harbor. So, like where a bunch of boats were. And you start walking towards a woman, and she turns to look at you and she slapped you in the face. And I said, who is that? Why did that happen? And she said, you are not supposed to speak to me. Do not speak to me. And I said, who is that? And the woman said, my teacher. So her mentor that she had been working under. And I said, well, what happened that you're incurring that level of disdain? Because I could tell that they did have a beautiful relationship at one point. And then she said, come with me. And she took you and me and her to an apothecary that was in a basement. So you lived
Hmm.
up on top and the apothecary's down here. So it's more like where you put together your healing elixirs. And this is where you used to work with this teacher. So you said I was working on a new elixir that would cure an illness. So something that was going around in the 1800s, like health wise. And I could see you having a conversation with that woman, and she said she's not saying how she actually feels. So what your teacher was telling you was, I don't want you to give this to people because it's going to expose us. Like, what do you mean you can just cure this illness in the 1800s? Okay. What you said was that's not actually why she's upset. The reason that she's upset is because if we cure people, then they won't come to see us. And
That's
she,
exactly what I just heard in my head. It's like if I give the cure, then they don't need us for other stuff, you dumbass. And I'm like,
yes,
this is where
yes.
I'm confused with healing because I my ultimate goal is to heal healers because
Hmm.
I think that we're the saviors of the world. Like we need to be able going out and healing the flock, and they need to heal the flock, and they need to heal the
Hmm.
flock. It's like that is definitely trickle down. Um, and I've never understood if you have the power to fix something now, while you
Hmm.
force people to suffer for years and decades and get them hooked on other shit that they don't need. That's that part that I've had for multiple lifetimes. I'm that.
Yes. So the thing here, though, is your teacher was not conscientiously aware of that's what the fear was. So you could see that in her auric field and in her subconscious, but she didn't see that. So there was a
Mm,
miscommunication in awareness. And how do you explain that to somebody who isn't aware of that, right?
you can't. You can only meet them where they're at.
Right. So the fear of exposure, like, yeah, that is true during that time period. But if that's not the actual problem, then y'all are not going to be able to resolve that with one another. Okay. So you said, I felt betrayed. I felt betrayed by her. Even though you know what's actually happening, like the fear that she doesn't know about, you still like we still feel betrayed. Like, why did my
Yeah.
teacher turn away from me? And let's see. I said, "Well, why did you go to see her that day?" Because the memory that we were viewing is way after all that happened. And she said, "I wanted to explain to her that if we help somebody with everlasting effects, that they will continue to see us for other things,
Hmm.
and they will tell other people to come and see us too."
Yeah.
Okay. And the teacher said, "You don't understand the danger that you are putting us in." Like the fear of exposure. Okay.
Yeah. So
And
that's a very real thing, even now. Well, actually, no, not
yes.
even now. In this lifetime, I have embraced the weird,
Hmm.
because before it was you weren't going to kill me for being X, Y, and Z. Now I'm still
Hmm.
not sure about that. But I'm not afraid in this lifetime to say what I think needs to be said because, okay, so I also believe that we choose these lives that we're in and that we say, hey, I need to learn X, Y, and Z. Who's going to help me with that? Your soul family goes, I can do that. I can do this. I can do that. Okay, let's go. Boom, boom, we're here. And I'm saying, why in the hell would anybody want to be assaulted? Why would anybody want to be have their parents abandon them, abuse them? Why would anybody choose that stuff? It's because you have to understand how it feels to recognize it in somebody else,
Hmm.
to be able to heal it, to know when something's supposed to be healed but it isn't, so there's something else to look for. If you haven't experienced these things and you haven't been put in a position to at least observe other people experiencing these things, then you're going to miss something possibly very important.
Hmm.
And I don't want to miss something, and I know what it feels like to be abandoned. I know what it feels like to be left and now
Hmm.
figure your shit out on your own. Fuck. So that's a very real thing in this lifetime too.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm trying to
Yeah.
figure out how to navigate around it
Yeah. You were also worried about during that time period of her turning you in.
because it's happened multiple times.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes we have those rollovers happen. So your higher self said you were ready to take bold action and she was not. So that's
Yeah.
why y'all had to split that relationship up. But that's still, I mean, that's still very hurtful that we had to experience that. Even though you understand something, it still hurts.
Yeah. Oh no, no, the sting is there.
Right.
And that's why I think possibly that I'm supposed to be solo because if I screw myself up, it's me. If I trust somebody else and they do that to me, and even in this lifetime, people like, oh, let's do this and let's be astral projection, let's do this, let's do that. We meet and we do all kinds of healing things and really cool things, and all of a sudden whoop, they stop talking to me and I'm like, did I offend somebody? What happened? And a year will go by and then they'll reach back out to me and I'm like, I gotta ask, what the hell happened? Like, why did you just up and ghost me for no fucking reason? They said, oh, I had other people I was talking to and they told me that you were evil.
Uh-huh.
I was like, what? For what? And they go, nothing in particular. They just said that you were a bad influence and evil, and that I needed to distance myself from you and I had to do it right away. And
Hmm.
I'm like, so that's what I've run across in the last couple of years.
Yes.
So I'm like, how do you know who to talk to and how far to trust and if you even
Yes.
should?
Yes. Okay. So that's a karmic lesson that we are
Yeah.
going to be healing in this lifetime, right? So obviously, like you said, though, I need to experience it in order to heal it, you know?
Yeah.
So what had happened in that incarnation was she did not, okay, you in that incarnation were still kind of like a baby a little bit with your spiritual gifts and didn't have the level of discernment that you do now. And
Yeah.
your teacher had the best intentions. She had the best intentions, but you were able to read beyond what she was able to read of self. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is where you come in this incarnation, and you have to get very clear about who it is that is coming into our realm and who we are investing time and energy with. How self-aware is this person if they're going to be very close to me? Can they actually read themselves to the depths that I can read them? So like the people who are in my life, like the energy healers that I have let in,
Hmm.
they have to be at that same level because
Yeah.
I cannot continue a very deep relationship with somebody who I can see a lot of things that they can't, because it always becomes an issue. And that's not saying that I can't work with tons of different energy healers. I'm talking about the people that are very close to me in my own personal life. Like if I was taking on a mentor, if I'm taking on a business partner, if I'm
Hmm.
taking on a apprentice,
Yeah.
somebody that's that close to me, we need to be at the same level of awareness.
Yeah. And right now I do not have those people around me, so I'm trying to draw my tribe into me.
Yeah, and you will.
Um,
You will have
yeah.
them. You will have them. One of the ways that we're going to get those people, just like I did, because I had a lot of
Hmm.
trust issues. One of the ways that we're going to get there is by putting ourselves out there, though.
Yes, and I've done 2 years ago. I did the Eugene Pride Parade. It
Hmm.
wasn't a parade; it was just an event, and I did a tarot booth there. And my youngest, who is witchy, they were my barker, and we did like $600 worth of tarot readings in a 10-hour
Oh,
period.
awesome. Yeah.
It was great, right? 25, $50 a pop. I'm like, this is awesome. And
Hmm.
then they moved up to Longview and they're doing their own thing and they don't want to do this right now because they're busy, but I can't do it by myself because I can't be reading and barking at the same time. So I'm like, oh, okay. But it was so, it didn't seem like work. It was fun.
Yeah,
I
you're just
got
in
to
the
meet
flow
people.
state.
Yeah, and so I'm like, okay, I've dabbled is what I've done. I've
Mhm.
dabbled. I'm like, okay, I didn't die. Look at me. Ooh.
Sure.
But yeah, so I need to remove that block that keeps me from continuing.
Yeah, just being more mindful about where people are at in our lives,
Yeah.
right? Like not everybody has to be very super close. Like I have thousands and thousands and thousands of light workers and empaths that are like in my realms and in my spheres, but that doesn't mean everybody is this close to me.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
But there are people that I do want that close to me, and I only found them by putting myself out there. So this is just new levels of discernment in which
Yeah.
we are reaching during this incarnation, but we won't be able to reach that if we're not putting ourselves out there and
Yeah.
learning that lesson
Yes.
of,
So
of
thank you.
availability with our time and energy. Okay.
Gotta do it. Gotta do it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so higher self wanted me to ask, what exactly do you want to be supporting people with? Kind of like the conversation that we had before, just because you can do everything does not mean that you want to, or does not mean that you should, and is not going to bring you joy. So one of the things that I like to ask myself so I don't get bored is, what do I, as a practitioner, want to get better at? Well, that's what I'm talking about, and that's what I'm healing with people with during this chapter.
Nice. Nice. I I want to teach healers how to heal themselves. I want to specifically work with energy healers. I want to
Mhm.
specifically work with nurses and techs and people in the healing industry. And while their intentions are good, 99% of the time, they don't protect their energy. They don't put on, they don't bubble up, they don't clear their energy field, they don't ground, they don't do those things and
Or
accumulated.
taking on the weight of the world.
Yeah, and taking on the ills of their patients trying to
Yes.
heal them or using their own energy to heal.
Yes.
Now, your
Oh
own
my gosh.
energy is
Please,
great. However,
please, please be a teacher of that. Please. About how not to use your own personal energy to heal
you
people.
you you're a conduit. You are not a source.
Yes.
You are a
Yes, yes,
conduit,
yes.
not a
Yes.
source.
Yeah.
And so what I teach people is how to draw energy from up and around them and from the astral realms. Like you
Yes.
don't have to have energy from this field. You can take energy
Hmm.
from any field. So, but don't give your energy.
Hmm.
And because you're going to get depleted. I had a friend who was a fundamental Christian, born again Christian. That's what it is. And she was a healer, and she would lay on hands. And I'm like, wait a minute, do you actually lay your hands on people? She goes, oh yeah, you put your hands right on them. I'm like, no. I said, aren't you afraid you're going to catch something? She goes, oh, you can't catch something just by laying on hands. I said, I beg to fucking differ. I said, first of all, the people that you're laying hands on are usually very, very, very sick, have cancer, have this, that, and the other. You don't need that attaching to yourself. You need to
Right.
make sure that, up here, I
We need
can
to
heal
hover.
you from here. I do not
Yeah.
need to heal you from here,
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So, long story short, we would talk back and forth, and I was like, I'm really concerned that you're going out with these pastors. And she was a former alcoholic, and she had issues with mobilities, and she's a little overweight, just a little bit. I could see the weight being added on to her each time she went, and it just drive me crazy. And then all of a sudden she had to go to the hospital because she had black ooze coming out of the top of her head, and she went in and she had brain cancer, and she died with very shortly. She didn't like hospitals because she felt like you just go there to die, and she fought it, fought it, fought it, fought it, and then went and died. And I'm like, okay, one, that's prophetic right there. If you don't go until there's an emergency, chances are you're not going to have a good time. So I believe in science and energy. I want you to go get your physicals. I want you to go to follow your doctor's advice, but I also want you to try and heal yourself. I
Hmm.
want to teach people how to use their mind, how to use their higher self, how to use the Arcturians, who are masters at energy and surgery, like they are masters. I also want to teach people the discernment. Like some people don't know what's a good energy and what's a no, no, let's leave that the hell alone energy. And so I want to be able to teach the healers this so they don't injure themselves, so we don't lose them. I'm afraid that we are losing healers in the nurses and doctors. We treat them like shit. We don't, all the stuff, right? I'm afraid that they're losing faith, that they're losing their will to continue to do what they do. I can't heal everybody. You can't heal everybody, but we can heal some people that can heal some people that can heal some people, and they can heal people. So that's what I want to do. That's what I want to teach is, yeah, I do. I want to teach people how to protect their energy, how to pull up from other sources, and to feel it. One of the first ways I learned how to do stuff was candle manipulation, playing with the fire.
Hmm.
And like they're like, well, what do you mean? Well, you light a candle and then you sit there with your mind staring at that candle, and you try and condense that candle, condense that flame as
Hmm.
small as you can, condense and condense, and then you release it and you watch it go, wow. And you're like, I did that. There's no
Hmm.
wind in here. So that's what I want to teach people.
Yeah, how to focus your energy. So, do you see how excited you got talking about that and how passionate? So, you helping healers specifically is different than helping the common layperson.
Yeah, that
Okay.
is different.
It is very different because you're looking through a different frame of reality with the content that you're making and what you're sharing out into the world, because the community that you're speaking to is specifically people with a mission to help others. So that's not just like the generalized public, right? But
Yeah.
then you're taking it a step beyond and saying, no, I want to actually make this a business. I want to make it a practice, whether it's a nursing or an energy healer or whatever. Okay, so now we're getting a little bit more refined, and you
Mhm.
have more of a specific person that you were talking to. So it's going to resonate even more with them than just everyone and everything.
Yeah.
As if you're talking to a common layperson and an actual practitioner, that consciousness and language is like so much in between that, right? So that's where higher self is saying, like, how can we get a little bit more clear on who it is we are speaking to? Because completely different tools and techniques and levels of understanding.
Yes.
The other thing your higher self said once, be mindful about putting yourself in a paradigm where we're losing energy healers to self-destructive mechanisms. Because that's
Mm,
true, but if you keep on running that paradigm, then you're going to stay stuck in that, where you could
okay.
say, okay, where we need to move ourselves over to. There are so many healers that are awakening and they're so excited and they're thriving and they want to learn the best tools and techniques for that.
Yes, that's
That
much
is,
better.
yeah, that's as equal, right? But that's going back to kind of what we were talking about before with that past life of, do I want to be talking to a lot of broken people or do I want to be talking to empowered people and help them be even more empowered? Like they will continue to come to me. Like they will
That one.
continue to come.
That one. I want to do the second one.
Right. So we're not going to focus on like, oh, the world is kind of destructing right now and all the energy healers are getting consumed by it, because then that's the clients you'll get. And
I
that's
don't want
very
those clients.
exhausting.
Yeah, it is. It has
Okay.
been, which is also why I've gone in, had those clients and been like, y'all just suck the life right out of me. I can't do this. I'm out of here.
Sure. Sure.
So
So you need a client that's saying, I am so excited to help people with my magic and I'm going to change their lives forever and I want to up level my tools, techniques, and my skills. And that's why I'm coming to see Kimberly.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
frame that you need to be creating from.
that's awesome.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Making it as easy as people or as easy as possible for people to pay you. So I know you have a website that you're working on. We need to have that up in our bio. Like it needs to be boop, easy because not everybody
Yeah,
needs convincing. There are so
I'm
many
gonna
people that are
show
like,
him.
yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna show him your website as well. I didn't show him that. I've shown him a
Yeah.
couple of others. I said the ease at which I just went boop 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 on down
Mhm.
was awesome. I love it. So,
Yep.
can you remove the witch wound thing or whatever it is I need removed so I can just jump the hell forward?
Well, with removing something, you have to have an awareness of what is happening, right? And then we can make a different choice once we have the awareness of this is what this is. So when
Hmm.
you are thinking about putting yourself out there into the world, something that you need to continuously say over yourself is, I am an advanced version of those past versions of myself. I am not her anymore. Like they are there, but I am the one that is clearing that out in this lifetime. But the only way that I can do that is to trust myself and look through new filter lenses and decide, like, my medicine is not going to be for everybody. It's not for the entirety of the world. I do need to separate my 3D real estate and medicine woman over here, just because you're not talking about light stuff. Like we're talking about fringe on the fringe, like very
Hmm.
esoteric, like you are very advanced in those areas, and the common layperson is gonna be like, wow, she's a wackadoo, okay? So let's have our own special realm curated over here for those other advanced persons who really want to get into it. It doesn't mean that you are self-sacrificing your values. It just means I'm being more intentional about whom this is for.
I would rather not have to explain who the hell Arcturians are
Exactly.
and everything else
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
you didn't blink. You're like, I know who they are. I'm like, good.
That's why I started all new social media pages because
Yeah,
I knew the things that I was going to be talking about are not for the common person, and I don't want to subject myself to having to explain or have that
yeah,
energy in my community. I don't want
yeah,
to subject my community members to that.
true.
Right? So we're just going to do our own thing over here. But then when those fears come up, you have to continuously say, I live in a reality paradigm where I'm only around people who understand me.
Yes.
I am not living in the 1800s.
No.
Okay, the crux of putting yourself out there is yes, you have more exposure, but you have more support.
Yes.
So the social media presence can actually be the greatest healer if we're looking through
Hmm.
that frame of reality and we continue to push through.
I
That's
like
all.
that.
There's nothing to remove. It's more of having an awareness of what's been and making a different choice and having that understanding of I'm not them. They are me, but I am my own entity in this incarnation.
Yes.
I can feel their pain, but that doesn't mean I'm going to absorb it, just like you would tell anybody else. Okay.
Exactly. Observe but not absorb. That's
Yeah,
what I
they
tell
are
people
me.
all the time.
They are me, but they're not. Sometimes you have to close down those, like I've had timelines that continue to spew up, like, well, what about this? And fears and anxieties, and this was what happened, and all these things. That's not me. That was you. Thank you for the wisdom that you're sharing with me, but I'm my own entity. I'm clearing it out for you. I'm healing it in our records in this incarnation. Okay.
Right? I
Yes.
love it.
Okay. So higher self said, one more thing here. You're really good at helping people through tower moments.
Yeah.
Okay. And helping rebuild their identities.
Hmm.
However, we need to decide what chapter that we're jumping into people with their tower moments. So for example, let's take people pleasing. Okay.
Hmm.
So you could go back and help somebody's inner child with people pleasing, like just go straight to the root
Yeah.
to help clear it out. Okay. Or you could help somebody right now with tools and techniques traversing through people pleasing in this now moment. Or you could help somebody build an entirely new self concept where they don't experience people pleasing and you just help them work on their goals and dreams as the new self. All of those are beneficial.
Hmm.
Not everybody wants to do all of them.
The second one was more. I like the surgery aspect of go in there, take it out, heal that part of you, and then we can look at it under a microscope when it's off of you. Right. So
Yeah.
I like to remove parasites and other things from people's auric fields, and I rotate their chakras. I do all that kind of fun stuff. But I do think the part that resonated the most with me that we've had right now is my audience has been wrong. I know exactly who my audience should be, and I have not been talking to them at all. And when I do, they're like, "Oh my God, when you get that done, let me know. I'd love to do it." And I'm like, Okay." So there is a need for it. People do want it. I've been fishing in the wrong pond.
Yeah, and sometimes like I've been in that place before where I felt very nervous about becoming a mentor to healers because it's like, who am I to do that, right? But the thing is, like, and that's a big responsibility too, because what you're doing now is creating lineages of other healers, and that's a lot of responsibility.
Well, I come from a long line of nurses. My grandmother
Mhm.
was a nurse, my sister's a nurse, my cousin's a nurse. I was supposed to be a nurse. I just like, nope, can't do shots. I'm out of here. Kind of thing. But the healing woman of the tribe, of the this, of the that, um, we have so much healing energy in our own bodies, and we can teach other people how to harness their own bodies and heal themselves. I think it's a win-win. I don't think that teaching somebody how to heal themselves has a negative connotation.
No, yeah. And what your higher self is saying too, it's just what level of consciousness are we meeting people at? Because if you have somebody who like doesn't even know what it means to be an empath, has never heard that word before, and has no awareness of like boundaries, and they're like so trudging through like a lot of 3D things, that's fine in that chapter of life, but that's for a different type of teacher.
Yeah.
You're like,
No, I need
the person
somebody who
who's like,
understands the
no.
basics. Yeah.
Yes, they're
You,
like,
you
I know that I'm meant to be a healer and a practitioner, and I
yeah.
need to hone my skill sets. Like, that's a completely different person to talk to.
Yeah. It is. That's more my bailiwick, I think, because I hate having to reinvent the wheel. And some people you think, oh, they're going to get it. And so you tell them, and then they're like, oh my God, that's weird. I can't talk to you anymore. I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, well, bye. Kind of thing. So I think I've just had the wrong audience.
One of the greatest liberation moments of my business was saying, you know what? I'm going to be for the people who I'm meant to be for, and let the other healers that are closer to the other persons help them. Like, it's not my responsibility to help everybody. I'm going to help this one group of persons.
Yeah.
And then we're going to keep it pushing. And that's when I saw things like really take off and accelerate because I'm not down regulating my languaging.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not trying
That's
to
huge.
explain things, right? I'm not, because that takes a lot of energy because you have to be very choice with your words that you're selecting and your tones and why you're saying things. I'm just like, this is me and this is what we got going on over here in this realm.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just gonna say all this stuff and we're just gonna keep it pushing and
Yep.
call in those healers that are on that same growth trajectory rate.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's what I need to do because I don't want to have to re-explain everything. I will, but I don't want to have to. Um, yeah, I think like you said, I just need to lean into the Oracle portion of it and basically tell my life story and how I've navigated and what I do, and then jump from there and see what floats my boat. Um, because one, I can't believe that they can look at the Milky Way and everything else and think that there's only one planet in the whole freaking ever of all ever that there's any life forms on that know what the hell they're doing. I'm like, do you see how many dots are out there? Like, I'm pretty sure there's other beings and other stuff. I'm not saying they want to come visit us, and kind of stuff, but and then there's the different lifetimes, and there's, I mean, hell, that in and of itself with most of my relatives, like, oh my God, you do tarot and you talk about other lives? I'm like, oh,
Mhm.
bless your heart. Um, so yeah.
Don't you think it'd be easier to talk to an audience that already has an awareness of like the Akasha and the quantum field and like higher esoteric topics and past lives and all those things? Like there are
Yes.
people like there needs to be more teachers that are teaching on that level for those
Yeah.
persons,
And that's
which
where
is
I
going to
do want to
expand
be
you.
teaching. Yeah.
Yeah, which will
That's
expand you at the same time, and you won't be bored. You're like, oh my God, I can finally talk about all this stuff like super freely, and people understand and they resonate with it, and that's where we need to be instead of teaching like spiritualism one-on-one.
yeah, no, I need to be teaching the college classes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do because not because I think I'm all that, but because the things that I talk about and that I can take people to, like, if your mind's open, it's great, but if your mind's not open, it's a scary place, like having your paradigm crushed because now you've gone to different places and your God wasn't there. Oh my Lord, kind of stuff. And I'm like,
Yes.
okay, I don't want to have that kind of thing. I don't want to shake the masses up and say, you need to understand that God is not this. I don't want to do that.
Right. Yeah,
It's
we're not
not
trying
my
to send anybody into psychosis or having
no,
or
no, no.
meltdowns. So there's kindergarten teachers who love being kindergarten teachers.
True that. And then there's seniors that are teachers that teach
Yeah.
seniors that like that. And I'm like, yeah, I'm more up there, not in the kindergarten class because, oh yeah. So that helps a lot. Is there anything else I need to be removing, unblocking, or anything before I head off?
Mm, the only thing that your higher self really had for you is just having an awareness about the coven things and having fear about building community around yourself because of betrayal or people misunderstanding you or just turning you in, like all that kind of like witch wound things.
Yeah,
But you also have the awareness of that's not me in this lifetime. Even if I've experienced that in this lifetime, I'm a different person right this second.
I am. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And putting ourselves out there, figuring out what it is that I want to grow and evolve as a practitioner in my own journey, and then
Hmm.
helping other people with that because
Yeah,
that's going to help everybody. Right. And just really talking about things that you enjoy through your oracleization. But other than that, I didn't really see a whole lot of stuff. It was just more so like, hey, if we want to have a lot of clients, we're going to have to go out on social media.
Yeah,
Because you
yep,
can,
yep. It's
because
like,
you can
quit
do,
doing this.
yeah, because listen, you can do it other ways. You can partner with chiropractors and spas and yogas and do festivals. A lot of that is a lot of 3D grunt work.
Yeah, no,
Where if
I
you just
want to
on
do the
social
quantum
media, you can reach
leaping.
people immediately.
Yeah, no, I want to do the quantum leaping. I'm done with playing small. I'm one of the first Anunnaki. I remember being gigantic. My big toe would play with Saturn and flip it around, and that's how kind of big I am. And when I get downloads, and see, that's another thing. People are like, downloads. What are you, a computer? Absolutely, yeah, pretty much. This is the Matrix. We're enjoying this. It's a nice place. But there's other places to visit and do and see. And this is not the end all be all, but this is where we're focused right now. And it's really cool. Um, encourage you to go see Hopscotch downtown Portland. If you have not gone to that thing, it's really, really cool. It's got lights in it that dangle. It's got a whole bunch of different feel good wop wop really cool imagery art stuff. You go in, it's interactive, like one or two people go into the room at a time so that you get the full effect, but they have a whole bunch of lights coming down. You sit, there's mirrors, and then they do the stroby thing with the lights, and it feels like you're going down a tunnel. And then all things, that's one room. Another room's a bouncy thing where when you bounce on it, it changes what the picture is doing in the thing, like Van Gogh type of stuff. And another one, it was umbrellas were hanging down with microphones, and you could tell it was, they call it the secret room. You go in there and you tell the secret, it records it, and then you go in another part of the thing and you hear people's secrets, and it's like,
Okay.
whoa, that's
It's called
tripping balls.
hopscotch.
It's called Hopscotch. Check it out. It's
Okay.
absolutely worth it. You can even take your kids there. They will have a freaking blast.
Cool.
And they only sell like 20 tickets at a time per hour so that you can go through the multiple rooms without a whole bunch of people in there and
Hmm.
you can immerse yourself. It's an immersive exhibit. It's awesome. But
If I find
Hopscotch,
myself in Portland, I will go.
do that. I'm on well, I won't say where I'm on. But yeah, I'm in Southwest Portland, so there's that. But yeah, so I had fun doing that. Let's see what else. Oh, and the Dahlia Farms down in Canby, freaking awesome right now.
Okay,
So
cool. Cool.
yeah,
What was your biggest takeaway today?
that it's okay to jump up to the collegiate class, and I don't have to teach kindergarten to be. I don't have to pay my dues because I've already done that in previous lifetimes, and I need to
Yes.
help people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's time to step into that
time.
role.
Yes, it really is. It really is. And if well, you understand, you know how it is when your higher self or something keeps like doing the nudge, the nudge, the
Hmm.
nudge, the nudge. It's like, I'm gonna keep pushing you until you
Yeah.
understand what I'm telling you. And I'm like, I get it. I just don't know where to start. Yes, I do. I got a website being built, and I have met a new friend that says, "Oh, we got a recording studio. You just come over and we'll just record videos." And I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Girl, you need to be up on your phone, just record, just talk. Like
Yeah.
just talk. That's what your higher self is saying, that your one of your greatest gifts is oracleization. Just talk. Get on the camera and talk and post it. Talk and post it. Talk and post it. Talk and post it. I use my social media like a video diary. I'm just
Okay.
talking to me. I'm talking to a younger version of me, and that always aligns me with people who are like one
Mhm.
step back from me, and it's so easy to work with them.
Yeah,
I'm
true
just
that.
saying, this is a story of my life. This is what I learned. This is what you can learn from it too.
There you go. That's what I'm
That's
gonna
it.
do.
Don't overcomplicate it.
Yeah, keep it simple, stupid. Kiss it.
Yeah. Are you
Got it.
okay? Are you okay with me sharing this? You can
Yes,
also
ma'am.
say no.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
It's it's we got to learn from each other, do we not?
Yep.
And
That's what I can use.
some of us need to experience, and some of us can watch it and go, oh yeah, don't want to do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.